Morning everybody, welcome to another glorious Friday. So I have to say it was tipping down with rain here 5 minutes ago. We might just get lucky. Hope I find you all in very good health. You may have noticed level crossing Tim's gone quiet on us. I know Tim gets very busy doing stuff. I hope it's that and not COVID. I expect he's out somewhere plotting. Right, there will be another offering from the film club at the end of this bit of wind around. I feel like somebody reading the news here. There'll be another film club at the end of this one, another clip. Last week I did the our old garden. Lionel Whiten says, why did I film the present garden? Well, the thing is, I suppose the Mem Sab and I are in advancing years, and so we've gone for the low maintenance approach. I said to Lionel, a bit of clever work with the camera angle might work, but anyway we'll leave that down the line. The only downside of these film clips are they're from my kind of private collection or whatever. They were never meant for broadcast. Consequently, quite a few of them have got copyright music on. I swap it out if I can, but where I can't, it means that our friends at YouTube will be loading this down with adverts. If that's the case, I can only apologise. Nothing to do with me. Right, now, matters arising. Blimey, Charfield last week opened the floodgates a bit. Right, let's get through this. Quite a number of people wrote in. It's really good response. Loved it. Now, on the prospects for a new station on that site, Rodney Masters has written in, according to the local paper, which is the Gazette, dated 8th of December 2020, a plan to reopen the station had received the next stage of approval by the West of England Combined Authority Committee. Of course, this may be political rhetoric with no real substance, but being less cynical, it may explain the station buyback. Yeah. Actually, I don't think they want to buy the whole station back. I think they just want to buy a plot of land. John Moore says there's long been talk but not a great deal of action. Oh, there's a thing about reopening the station. But the last initiative of which I was aware was criticised by neighbours as likely to cause an increase in road traffic. Right. On a personal note, my late wife's grandfather, my late wife, sorry for your loss, John. If it makes you feel any better, you're not the only one flying solo on this channel. I don't think you're the only one flying solo on this blog, to be honest. On a personal note, my late wife's grandfather was the ostler in charge of a team of horses whose major task in the 1920s was hauling passengers and mail from Charfield Station to the nearby town of Wootton-under-Edge. Wow, what a connection. What a connection. I mean, that's coming up for 100 years ago. Horses were there in the domain. Amazing. Right, let's move on to the main topic as it seemed to be, the accident, the Charfield accident and the things surrounding it. Now, John again says, interesting to visit what would have been my local station in the 1960s had it been open. Get him in, John. I also worked in a local textile mill together with a retired police sergeant who knew the officer that had to deal with the aftermath of the crush. The story of the two children tends to have become somewhat more elaborate than I think the original facts allow. Passengers on the train who survived spoke of seeing two youngsters near the front of the train during the journey, but after the crash, in fact, the bodies of two such children were not discovered. A number of items of clothing were found, including school uniform, caps, but as far as I'm aware, no actual bodies. Nevertheless, what was found was interred in Lesser Charfield Church at the top of Charfield Hill. That's, of course, the one we visited. And then John goes on again to say, Further to my note earlier today vis-à-vis the youngsters who are said to have been victims of this dreadful accident, I have now read L.C. Roach's Red for Danger. I have actually read that. In his reference to the accident. The book has been reissued a number of times, over 25 years, but it refers consistently to having been 2 children victims who were unidentified. It says also that these were buried in an unmarked grave, but of course we know that's not true because it's on the memorial. We should never know, of course, but these stories live on. Right. Peter Smith. I used to work with someone who in a previous life was a ticket office clerk for the then British Railways. He said the crash and the identity of the 2 children was still a hot topic there. Not a nice place to be on a dark winter's night, he said. Wind them up, Peter, why not? Right. Richard Bird. My late wife. Another one. Sorry for your loss, Richard. Hang in there. My late wife and I visited this site in September 2014. I've long wished to see this, mainly because of the 2 children who are associated with the crash. Sadly, the church was not open when we were there, so it was nice to see the interior. Good, excellent. By the way, he says, the pub next to the bridge was used as a temporary mortuary for those who were killed. Spooky. Steve Jessic says, great video, it brought back many memories. When I used to work for South Gloucestershire Council, I had 2 customers who lived in the pub, and I used to pass, well, behind the pub, and I used to pass Charfield Station every day. Memories indeed. We've not done yet. Right, detective work. Sharon Idle. Amazing. You'll have seen some of Sharon's posts before. Has nobody found me that anti-aircraft gun yet? Even up the odds a bit. Sharon says, one thing I did notice, there are 3 UHV TV aerials on the station master's house, which indicates that it was lived in after 1964, when the BBC launched BBC Two on a UHF 625 line PAL System 2 for transmission only. She goes on to provide a heck of a lot more detail on the array of aerials. Amazing, amazing research. Well done, Sharon. I suggest you go into the vlog and read Sharon's input there, because it truly is fascinating. And of course, and it wouldn't be complete, would it, without Andrew Merriman stepping in. And I have to say, you'll have noticed Andrew's helping me out. He does lots of answers on this channel. People that ask technical things be beyond me, Andrew steps in and gives really detailed answers. If you do nothing else, go into last week's film and look for the vlogs of Sharon, Andrew, and have a read. Do yourself a favour. Now, Andrew, of course, reaches a conclusion. The root cause of the collision centred around the signals. Were they on or were they off? Andrew goes into the detail here of where the signal box was situated, the relevant signals and repeaters, and the interlinking. It's absolutely amazing. I can't do it justice on here, but go and read it. It really is wonderful. And Andrew reaches a conclusion, which I'm not going to tell you what it is. Read it for yourself. The old station buildings then. Steve Holden said, it would be nice if the station and buildings could be moved to a preserved railway. What a superb idea. You imagine if you could, it's been done before, isn't it? If you could take those buildings down and reassemble them at a heritage railway, you'd have the complete setup, as was. It wouldn't be a bit from here and a bit from there, it would be the whole setup. What a brilliant idea. Never heard of that before. Jim Nichols, however, ever practical Jim. Thanks for that interesting item. Incredible that the station should remain like that. With the cost of land, you'd certainly expect it to have been restored and lived in, or demolished, so the land could be used for something else. Where's your heart, Jim? Goodness me, you can't do that. Gary Dwyer says they should be made to restore it. As being close to an active line, rubbish. We're in the 21st century. We have the technology and the equipment and very talented construction people to do it. Yes, of course we have, but it's a private owner, and I'm sure the funds probably wouldn't extend to that. There you are. Philip Panhurst says Network Rail now are preserving some of their assets. They've finally cottoned on to the heritage that they've got, and they're preserving some of the assets, which is brilliant to hear, isn't it? But unfortunately, again, this is in private ownership, not Network Rail. And then Chris McCarthy says, what a waste of a building for a train-mad resident. Brilliant, Chris. Yeah, you're absolutely right. On the subject of the church, excuse me, Michael from Poland says, sad about the church, no longer in use, I guess because of a dwindling congregation. Yeah, you're right, Michael. We all have that problem at the moment. It always seems amazing to me. Nobody will support the church, but if you say you're going to close it, they don't like it. Such is life. John Waugh stepped in once again, and John says, Charfield still has its main church in the centre of the village. They may not all be heathens then. Good. Now John Foster said, I enjoyed watching it, and I have been encouraged to subscribe to the Church Preservation Society. Brilliant, brilliant. David Bennett says of the Church Preservation Society, they do good work. Yeah. Well, John, if I've achieved nothing else, I think that's brilliant. My work is done. Good, right. We got through that then. That's the matters arising now. Sumac, our mascot. Now, how many channels do you know that have got a mascot? I mean, brilliant, this channel, isn't it? Sumac MacArthur, who is young James Week's dog, of course. And you might remember that Sumac was upset because James's usual plan was to get up in the morning, make a cup of coffee, watch Parkinson's walks, and then take Sumac out for her walk. Wow. There's a new regime, which is now Parkinson's walks, then my walk, then James' coffee. James not happy. I think that problem might be insurmountable. Oh dear. Okay. And next week then we're going to Wickwar, which is the next station down in the line. Slightly brief, I think. But anyway, we're going to Wickwar. What got me about this, and I hope it comes across in the film, there's a huge brewery on the site near where we're filming. It was built around the time of the railway, and it's still going. It's still there. Huge brewery, but it sort of dominates, if you like. It has a feeling about it. Wonderful. It really is. Smashing bit of architecture if you have a look around it. But of course we were interested in the railway, and we picked up on a few of the railway bits and pieces on there. So we'll be looking at that next week. Now, before we run the film for the film club, the sentiments expressed in the film are those of the artist, not me. Not me, don't pick on me. Right, there's a challenge in this film. Shuffle yourself closer to your screen or monitor. Run the film, give it 30 seconds, a minute to warm up, and then see if you can watch it without trying to put your foot on the brake. You'll see what I mean. And I'll see you down at Wickwar next Friday. Don't be late.
I've gambled down in Washington, and I've gambled up in Maine. I'm going down into Georgia to knock down my last game. I'm a gambling man, man. I'm a gambling man. Well, I had not been in Washington many more weeks than 3 when I fell in love with a pretty little girl and she fell in love with me. I'm a gambling man. I'm a gambling man. I'm a gambling man, man, man. I'm a gambling man, man, man. A gambling man, man, man. I'm a gambling man. I'm a gambling man, man.